Good evening, viewers. This is Mallory Donnelly with History Network News. Here I stand today, March 9, 1841, with some of the 52 slaves among the Amistad trials, where their fate has been argued on for the past 2 years. But today we have an answer. The slaves are being freed. After years of being tossed around from coast to coast, they will finally be given the freedom to control their own lives. These slaves were first captured in Africa, and then traveled to Havana, Cuba, aboard the Amistad vessel headed into the life of slavery in Puerto Principe, Cuba. Joseph Cinque had another idea. He freed himself along with the other slaves and planned a mutiny. They killed the captain and another crew member, as well as held Cubans who brought the slaves, Jose Ruiz and Pedro Montes, captive. The Cubans were ordered to sail Amistad back to Africa, but they sneakily sailed the vessel towards America, where it was spotted near Long Island after 2 months. After being escorted to Connecticut by the U.S. Navy, the trials then began. Cinque learned English and testified on his behalf. Africans were then ruled illegally enslaved by Judge Andre Judson and would not be returned home to Cuba on trial for piracy and murder. They were also granted a free passage back to their home in Africa. The President Martin Van Buren first appealed this decision. Then he did so again in opposition to the abolitionists. The case was brought to the U.S. Supreme Court in February of 1841, where John Quincy Adams chose to defend the Africans. He continued to fight for the freedom of Cinque and the 34 survivors of the Amistad. He provided a strong argument in Congress for the nation's highest court. And today was the day where John Adams' argument was really heard. The Supreme Court ruled that the Africans had in fact been enslaved illegally and have a natural right to defend themselves and their freedom. And that is what they were given. They will be brought back to their homelands to live a life of freedom as soon as possible, with the help of their abolitionist allies. This was Mallory Donnelly reporting from the U.S. Supreme Court, March 9, 1841, with History Network News.